Hello, good morning. We have our guest here, Ronak Patel,
Hello.
who's going to talk about artificial intelligence in manufacturing, which is a hot topic now because all is moving. So he will talk about a little bit. Let me introduce Ronak. He's an entrepreneur and technologist with over 20 years of experience, driven by a belief in the transformative power of technology to make the world better. As the co-founder of Sunflower Lab, a fast-growing digital product and innovation agency, Ronak remains actively involved in daily technology decisions, with a keen focus on artificial intelligence, data, and robotic process automation. His hands-on approach, paired with a deep understanding of emerging technologies, continue to empower Sunflower. Paired with a deep understanding of clients to streamline operations and unlock new efficiencies. Founded in 2010, Sunflower Lab has grown to a global team to over 150 engineers and designers across North America and India, impacting hundreds of businesses with custom technology solutions. Ronak, the floor is yours.
Right. Hello, everyone. Um, so we can get started with this artificial intelligence in manufacturing. Um, but there are around, like we have seen, and all the different report we're reading, the 40% of the manufacturing task could be automated or could be using AI, and it's not done. It's been still a lot of improvement need to be done when it comes to the intelligent automations and how we can improve our processes and so on. So this particular sessions, we're going to talk a little bit more into the depth. And if we go to the deeper, we want to pick this some two examples, right? Automated purchase order processing. How could you use intelligent automation, and also automating your customer onboarding, and you may have the different ERP system. So again, we start with some introduction and dive into the live examples, how we can use the intelligent automation, and we can get started here. So first thing is, you may have heard, and there are different things comes into play in the terminologies: robotic process automation, hyper automations, intelligent automation. In a nutshell, these are all automations is basically the way the human performing the task. And what we are doing is automating this process with this a system, a software system, and which is kind of doing many of the tasks what the human are doing. And that's where this process automations comes into play. Now once you have some of the AI, when this process is using AI or machine learning capabilities, right, to handle these things, it can also be intelligent automation, maybe OCR reading and so on. So we will see some things in examples, but again, we want to kind of make sure that there are some of the misconception, and I purposely took these pictures, right? When we say the process automations or robotic process automation, um, then people thinking the robots, right? Well, the RPA is not a humanoid robots, right? Do not have any physical forms or resemblance of a humans either. It cannot replicate the human cognitive skills or critical thinking. Um, some of the things is just using your process automations with some of the skills and the task automation, and that's pretty much it. So again, let's go to the next one. Um, so before we go into this, the deeper discussion about the use cases, I want to speak about a rise of the digital workers. So what does that mean? Now, there are all the different organizations, the manufacturing companies have the different productivity gauge. Your productivity gauge could be, well, increasing the productivity, reducing the errors, reducing the production time, or reducing the cost. But if we see more in a detail, all these organizations have aspirations to becoming a digital enterprises. They are manufacturing, but they want to be a digital enterprise. Now, company need to have, in order to be a digital enterprise, your operations need to be digital. in your operation need to be digital, your process need to be digital, right? So this is how you kind of like break it down. You have to have the digital worker, digital processes, then your operation become digital, and eventually you are a digital enterprise. You happen to be creating in the manufacturing world, right? You producing the products. So that's what the rise of the digital worker will be a trend going forward. So organizations has a different processes. So you say a different department. On the left side, you see, well, you may have sales, marketing, product building, or manufacturing portion like customer engagement, account engagement, human resources, and so on. Every department will have their own processes. So on one hand, you have the different processes be defined by the function. On the other end, there are application for each department or maybe interdepartment. You have an application, you have ERP, you have HR, you have payroll systems, you have CRM. Uh, many different applications will be used, maybe a Microsoft PowerPoint or Excels and so on. You so processes and application in between there are workers. Now, the workers are a human or could be a digital workers. Now, this is where the hybrid workforce will look like, where you start from right now, you have all the knowledge worker, the human, but you can have a digital worker who will do the very similar task, a very repetitive, the mundane task, follow your procedures of your organization, use the same application your organization have, and then do it digitally. And this is what we are saying. This is the rise of a digital worker in every organization. And this is where the trend, this is where you will see a lot of the digital worker in every organizations will be taking on some of the tasks. So what we are looking is human are engaged in more meaningful tasks. There are repeated tasks or some of the tasks need to be done is boring or it's just too time consuming, we can have digital worker to take on. So that's the hybrid workforce look like. So where do we start? There are plenty of examples in manufacturing, but in this particular sessions, we are taking the two examples and let's dive into that directly. So the first one, very common one, we say purchase order processing. Every organization goes through this one where they need to issue the purchase orders. There are manual data entries are involved. You have to enter the data into the ERP system and so on. So let's dive into this one and let me play the video here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sunny, and I'm an AI avatar from Sunflower Lab. Purchase order processing is a tedious, time-consuming, and error-prone task bogging down thousands of organizations across the country. But that doesn't have to be the case for your company. Let's delve into how automation can revolutionize the purchase order process to save you time and money. In this image, you can see that we received the purchase order as a PDF email attachment. Next, we will create a sales order in our ERP system using the details from the PDF file. But first, let's open it up and take a look. In the PDF, you can see the purchase order number at the top. You can also see the customer details like customer name, address, mobile number, along with required date and quotation number. In the bottom table, there are 2 items with respective quantities and prices with the grand total listed at the end. Let's add all these details into the ERP system using Power Automate. In Power Automate, we've created a flow that captures PDF email attachments and extracts the data to generate sales orders. Let's dissect this step by step. The flow is triggered when a new email is received. Next, the RPA bot is automatically prompted to check if that email contains an attachment or not. If it doesn't contain an attachment, it could be that the purchase order was sent as text or HTML content. If that is the case, the bot will extract those details via API call to perform further processing. If the email does contain an attachment, the bot will access it and extract its details. To extract data from the PDF file, the bot will use a custom model of Azure Intelligent Document Processing. First, the bot will send the file to the model via API call. In the API call, the bot uses a custom trained model. After successfully uploading, the bot will receive a key of that file from the API call response. After getting the key, the bot will call the model URL again to get extracted information from the PDF. After extracting the details, the bot will prepare a request body to create the sales order in the ERP system. In the next stage, the bot will perform parallel operations. First, it will create a sales order based on the data provided in the purchase order. The bot gets the quotation based on the provided number in the purchase order information. Let's have a look on that. To get the quotation details, the bot will call the API of the ERP system to match the purchase order data with the previously sent quotation. On the other side, the bot will create the sales order as a draft version using the ERP system's API with prepared data. After creating the sales order, the bot will match the item, item quantity, item price, and total amount of the purchase order with the quotation details. If the details do not match, then the bot will send an email to inform the sales team that the received purchase order does not match with the shared quotation. It will also mention which details are not matching. And if the details match the quotation, then bot will submit the sales order using the ERP system's API and update the sales team via email. After that, the bot will stop the process. Now, let's look at the ERP system to check the sales order. In the ERP system, you can see a sales order has been created with the customer's name. Let's open and check it out. On the details screen, you can see all details have been added automatically from the PDF. The RPA bot has added items with quantities and prices that match the PDF and the total. This sales order is automatically submitted because the purchase order data matches the previously shared quotation. As a result, the order status is set to deliver and bill. If the data in the quotation and PDF do not match, the bot will create a sales order and save it as a draft, as shown on the screen. This is how the time-consuming and error-prone process of purchase ordering processing can be automated to increase efficiency and accuracy.
Right. So I think we looked the whole purchase order processing flow, the various um, the data point abstractions, and also the alternate path where the human could be in the loop in the process. So in this particular slides, I'm talking around what it takes a company or organizations to purchase order processing tasks, what it takes. And these are all the based on our experience and the working with the many other organization. Anywhere, even a simple purchase order need to be processed, it cost you your time and money. And here is like, well, you got to read emails and you got to abstract your data, validating with the quotation, just make sure the data is right, and then entering to the ERP system. And this is again very optimistically, right? You can process the things faster, even though you have 100 purchase orders a month, right? And 1,200 purchase order a year you processing, your cost of this simple task could be around 15 grand. And that's just a tip of the iceberg. Like this is again, it may be higher than that. Your organizations, you need to look into it, like how long it takes for you to process any purchase order and so on. But again, this is the simple automations many of the organization can adopt and simply start using the automation for their organization. So it kind of save you the time, cost, and speed up the process. Now, next examples, right? Before we dive into the second examples, I will keep these particular examples and we using the um, Microsoft Power Automate in this one, but you could be using any other softwares and tools to automating these processes. The important portion here was when your quotation did not match to the sales order, what we had like purchase orders and quotation do not match, the sales order stays in a draft. And that's the piece where the humans are in a loop. There are cases where the automation do not know how to handle that, or maybe a manual interventions are needed, you could do that. So again, these all the processes are there to aiding the worker. These are digital workers are helping a knowledge worker, the humans, and they are not just simply a replacement. So you got to like look into is like how we can leverage those technology in your organization. Now, this is the second use case we are using here is customer registration in ERP system. We have built this particular use case to a couple of manufacturers, and they love this one. It just and how it does these things, kind of like doing all the different onboarding process and reducing the lot of paperwork. It's um, a mind-boggling. So let's dive into this one, and we can speak a little bit more after.
Hi, everyone. Sunny here again, Sunflower Labs AI avatar. Registering a new customer in an ERP system is a time-consuming process. The salesperson needs to add customer data to a formatted file and manually send it to the CSR manager. The CSR manager then assigns a CSR based on criteria and availability, who must then create the customer manually and send details to the AR team for credit check. This slow manual process reduces efficiency and therefore increases operational costs. Automation can change that. Let's take a look at how onboarding a new customer can be automated. Let's get started. On the screen, you can see that we have a customer registration form. Let's fill out the form details. Enter the customer name, type of customer, and the rest of the details. Once completed, click on the Submit button. When a salesperson submits the form, the Power Automate flow is automatically triggered. Let's have a look at that. As you can see, this is our cloud flow. In the first action, the flow is triggered when a response is submitted to the new customer registration form. After that, it will get the form response and collect the data. Next, it will trigger the desktop flow to perform the UI automation. You might be wondering, why do we have to perform the UI automation? The reason is that sometimes our ERP system doesn't have an API to communicate with the server. It is in these situations that we must perform the UI automation. So, here we will trigger the desktop flow and pass the collected form data and assign CSR automatically. Now, let's open the desktop flow to see how it works. On the desktop automation screen, you can see that we have created a desktop flow to perform the UI automation to register a new customer in the ERP system. Here, we have created different subflows to perform the automations. Let's open the first subflow, which opens the Chrome browser, adds the user email and password, and logs into the ERP system. In the next step, another subflow will redirect our bot to the customer registration screen. The bot will then click on Add New Customer. After opening the Add Customer screen, the bot will complete each field on the ERP system formerly provided by the salesperson. After successfully registering a new customer, the bot will send an email with the customer details to the AR team for further processing. On this screen, you can see that the new customer has been registered successfully. Let's open and check the details. Here, you can see that the bot has added the customer name and customer type correctly. It also added the contact person email and mobile number, along with the full address. This is how the process of adding a new customer into an ERP system can be automated to increase speed and decrease operational costs.
All right, so back to the cost here, manual cost for customer onboarding. There are different data collections need to be done, sending and emailing this data to CSR, then adding again the data back to the ERP or CRM, doing the credit check with the finance team, and all this time in generally, and this is again at a bare minimum, you will be spending almost hour when you're taking different tasks and kind of like putting all the things together. And don't forget about the context switching. All these peoples are different team members get involved, and they kind of like, oh well, we got a new customers, need to sign that out, and usually the times are higher than that. But again, less for just the process itself and not counting the context switching impact. Here we go, and we have around like a 1 hour. We have seen a customer onboarding process take. Well, if you have 500 customers, small to medium sized customers a year, your cost for this simple process automations could be kind of like save you up right around 30 grand and so on. So again, this is the other use case. You could be easily implement that in your organizations and speed up the way all these processes are happening while you got a new customers, and boom boom boom, it gets like a credit memo or like a credit check been done, added to the ERP, CRM, and so on, and everyone's been notified. And your organization have more custom flow more than this, right? We understand sometimes you need to emails to the um, different departments, introductions to your account rep after the sales has been done. You can also do all those things part of the automation. So again, this is the examples. You could look into it in your organization and see if it makes sense. So we are kind of open for question and answer here.
Fernando, do you have any comments, questions, concerns around RPA and implementation in the manufacturing setting?
Yeah. When we look at the manufacturing sites, many of them are in tier world countries. How to connect with the people, because one of the main things here is that there is no knowledge workers there, like in Mexico or India or whatever the manufacturing China. They usually get low a cheap bill for the workers, so they don't need to move from their actual stage to a knowledge worker. So they usually perform the task, like all the minutes that you are the system's trying to reduce, they're getting because it's cheaper to pay the system. How can we just inform the companies that it is better and at the long term?
Very good question, and we have very similar. We have done some automation in one of the company in India, and same thing, right? Like, why do I do the automations when my labor, right, but the peoples are cheaper? Why would I pay the automation? So what we have done um, over there, we have uh, invoice processing examples where you receive the invoice, you check that everything has been there, and you pay the invoice from your accounting department. Now, is typically done by the humans. They validate those things, right? Say, hey, all the things. They use the ERP now, so manually the things are verified. Now, when they process the invoices, sometimes they takes a longer. After the receiving invoicing, they takes sometime a month to process the invoice, right? And a weeks to month, right? That's that typical time frame. Things are not hurry. So what they have done that they negotiated the new contract with their vendors, and said that, well, we process your invoices in the next day. What more discounts we get from your services now? So here you're not replacing the human cost, you're replacing the faster money turnaround. On the same way, because now you are processing that invoice faster, so your vendors are willing to work, go above and beyond, do the things, and also providing the additional discounts. And they started receiving 2 to 3% discount because the company is processing their invoices the moment it's signed. The next day the money is in their bank. Now, your direct advantage may not be just the replacing the labor, and that was not intention, but what they did is like, hey, all the vendors, you have hard time. And that was a typical process in India, where the vendor do not get paid for several months and say, well, if I pay you next day, how much more discounts will get it? So again, that could be the examples. Or maybe if you are on account receivable persons, and you want to send your invoicing faster to reducing your like a cycle. So those could be the other way to look at it when the automation comes in. um, Labor reductions will be a one aspect, but the enterprise need to be digital, need to be fast, need to be fast moving, and they need to stick to their core. Manufacturing need to stick to their core, which is producing the product. Every other things need to be more and less, need to be automated. You don't really need humans as much as need to be. So that's kind of a different way to look at it.
Yeah, yeah, because there is not much labor at finance or materials and logistics, because there is not a lot of reduction of people there, but
Mhm.
it's matter of efficiency, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
One more question. When clients make help to make the forecast of production, and they usually have the number of elements to produce, but they have a different side orders that usually materials handle and put them to production. Usually, production knows the forecast, but not the custom orders from client.
Mhm.
This system can help to manage this efficiently, because they usually get the order like at the other way around, the PO from client
Mhm.
make the product. So there is a delay between the client need and the production going to production scale.
Correct. It have we have done some of the automations around that too. Even when we receive the purchase order, sometimes we see the discrepancy, or sometimes the purchase order are not even a structured document, right? It's just come in email and just say, "Can you guys produce something like that?" Right? Now we can train. We have used the AI systems in certain places where you just say, "Well, you asking this product, but that's not what we do, right? This is the wrong things. What are you asking? Maybe." And under basic conversations can be get started very promptly without the human to be involved, which decrease the entire communication time, which could be a several days to week. You kind of like bringing down in a smaller. So again, back to that, the speed up, right? You send your things and right away someone is responding. Those are again a digital worker. We can teach them your existing data and system. What are the organizations we working to, and it kind of like promptly respond to the many of the thing.
Okay, and making this simil, like recruiting providers, like the first system you explained, it could be the same for HR, like looking for people they can making the first steps in automated way, without, because HR is also a small part of the
Yeah,
company.
we do have a lot of other use cases in this one. I am just only presenting that, but HR use cases are there. Just the way we did customer onboarding, employee onboarding, training them, providing all the different access, the different training, that can be automated. And also the compliance check from every employee, right? Like, hey, did you do that? Did you do that? Right? And kind of like storing those things in in company organization data and so on. So those HR activities, we have even created HR AI assistant. So employee may be asking like how many days of or PTO I have left, right? More a year. Well, what the HR does is goes to the HRMS systems and look it up and kind of tell you the answer. Well, we can have the AI assistants on you ask them, it just within a seconds can say, hey, these are the many day off is there, or what are the other policy related question? Do we have the day off coming on this? Is my manufacturing plant is closed on what is the next day is it closed, or like what are the schedule change? Again, all these common questions usually HRs is busy to answering that again and again. and we can capture those informations and making the AI assistant smarter, so HR can do the things which they're supposed to do, not all the repeated questions, and keep answering that. And again, HR can be also in a loop when they need to be answered.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Franak.
Yeah, cool. Very good. Yeah, we seems to be, I think, on a time. So if you need to go to the next sessions.
Yeah, well, we're going to be taking a short break, and then we're going to get back to it, to a panel discussion around this very same topic, just a little bit broader. So take a 20-minute break, and we'll be right back.
Okay, all right, sounds good.